IG shaft removal, blade replacement, and insertion of shaft.
Warning: before the system components are taken apart, ensure the main power is completely turned off, disconnected and locked, and isolate the IG circulation water. Caution: it is recommended that safety glasses are worn. Warning: all local safety codes must be followed. Step 1. Shaft removal. 1. You will need to stand on a secure platform or stepladder for the whole shaft removal procedure. 2. Use a Phillips No. 2 screwdriver to remove all 3 M4 screws on the IG belt guard top cover. Lift off the belt guard top cover. 3. Reduce the tension from the 3 IG belts using the 9/16 wrench on the 4 nuts on the inside of the agitator motor base. 4. Remove the IG belts. 5. Loosen evenly the 4 bolts from the IG top flange using a 3/4 inch wrench. 6. Decouple the hose outlet from the IG top flange by fully lifting the levers of the cam lock and pulling down on the hose. Lift off the IG top flange. Since the shaft is heavy and awkward, it is recommended 2 people remove the shaft. 7. Pull shaft straight up to avoid damage to good blades, which are not required to be replaced. Be careful as blades are spring-loaded. 8. Suspend shaft between 2 stable workbenches or surfaces for easy inspection and assembly. Do not lay shaft on a workbench, as this could damage the blades. Step 2. Blade replacement. The blades come in pairs, male and female. Be certain when installing the 2 that you install them opposite of each other. In some cases, they are different in color. It is strongly suggested that you only remove and replace 1 blade at a time, thus making it nearly impossible to confuse the male and female blades. Other components that should be replaced are the spring assembly that is provided in the accessory kit. For each blade, the accessory kit comprises of 2 Nylock 1024 nuts, a round head 1024 by 1¼ screw, 2 springs, 2 end pins, 2 bushings, 2 mandrels, and 4 sleeve bearings. The rod kit comprises of a 1024 hex nut and stainless rod that goes all the way through the blade assembly, holding the blade to the shaft. To remove the blade: 1. Using a 3/8 inch wrench and Phillips No. 2 screwdriver. Remove the 1024 nut on the screw and place nut, bushing, and screw parts aside. 2. Remove the other 1024 nut and bushing, holding the rod in the assembly. Once these have been removed, the rod can then be pulled out from the assembly. Whilst pulling the rod, catch spring and mandrel at upper and then lower end of rod. To remove accessory parts at both ends of blade assembly. 3. Use a 1/4 inch drill bit to remove the old sleeve bearings. 4. Use the same drill bit in an electric drill to remove the old plastic end pins. The old end pin will come off with the bit. To replace accessory parts. 5. Using a hammer, tap in the 2 new plastic end pins. 6. Drill a 1/4 inch hole in each plastic end pin where the sleeve bearing will be inserted. Install sleeve bearings through the drilled holes and into holes near shaft. To replace blade. 7. Make sure new blade is the same kind as one being replaced and blade is correct way, thick end at bottom. 8. Ensure the hex nut is on threaded piece of rod. 9. At lower end, pass rod through thick end of blade and then through stainless steel pin. Insert spring on mandrel with spring rectangle end pointing to larger diameter end of mandrel, and the larger diameter end of mandrel is next to the stainless steel pin. 10. Pass rod through mandrel and blade towards the upper end, ensuring spring rectangle end is pressing against blade. 11. Place second spring on second mandrel, same as before. 12. Pass rod through second mandrel as far as to allow the threaded piece of rod at lower end of blade to be partially inserted into sleeved bearing in stainless steel pin. 13. At lower end of blade, install bottom spring holder by putting bushing on spring, allowing for the thicker end of bushing to be placed next to stainless steel pin. 14. Pass threaded rod through bushing. 15. Push rod until completely inserted. 16. At upper end of blade, install bottom spring holder by putting bushing on spring, same as before. 17. Install round head 1024 by 1.25 inch into sleeved bearing, followed by bushing and lock nut. To do this, you will need to use the screwdriver and wrench. Do not over-tighten nut. 18. Use second 1024 lock nut to hold rod in place at lower end. Again, be careful not to over-tighten. 19. After tightening, check and verify the blade can move freely. Repeat for the other blades. For bottom blades, there are 2 modifications that need to be made. 1. Cut off 1/4 inch from the bottom of the blade, thus making the blade end straight. This can be done using a hacksaw. Be careful not to score the bottom of the shaft. Top and center blades do not require this modification. 2. Rod assembly is reversed, with bushings on other side of stainless steel pins on the threaded rod end.
Step 3. Insertion of shaft.
1. Replace O-ring 3/16 by 6.5 neoprene. 2. Ensure that the IG O-ring is set properly. 3. Insert the shaft straight down using 2 people. Be careful of hands and long shirt sleeves getting caught when lowering. 4. Compress the blades in while doing so. 5. Replace the IG hose outlet by fully lifting up the levers of the cam lock and pushing up the hose. 6. Tighten the bolts on the IG top flange evenly using the 3/4 inch wrench. 7. Replace belts over the pulleys and into the grooves without forcing them over the sides of the grooves. If one belt needs replacing, it is best practice to replace all 3 belts. Arrange the belts so that the top and bottom spans have about the same sag. Adjust tension using the 9/16 inch wrench on all 4 nuts on the inside of the agitator motor base. Motor should be parallel with IG. A slight bowing on the slack side of the drive indicates proper tension. Alternatively, use a belt deflection gauge, giving a deflection force of 0.167 inches. 8. Replace belt guard cover and hold in place using screws. If the belts squeal as the motor starts or at some subsequent peak load, they are not tight enough to deliver the torque demanded by the drive machine. The motor should be stopped and the belts tightened. Please note that after a few days of operation, the belts will seat themselves in the pulley grooves, and it may become necessary to readjust so that the drive again shows a slight bow in the slack side.